Hey, what is up you guys? Today I'm doing my May TBR. I cannot believe it's May already. And yes, just get out of the way. I am very sunburned. This is my face. I sat in the sun for like 6 hours yesterday and forgot that sunscreen existed, so I'm very red. But we move on, get on with life, it is what it is. So the theme for this month, I've kind of been having a little bit of a theme. I've done the Japanese books, I've done the Russian books. Those were basically just, and the French books actually, because I had quite a lot of books from those countries on my TBR. But this month we're not doing a country, we are doing Icons Month, Legend Month, Favourite Authors Month, whatever you want to call it. And I am basically just going to be reading some books by some of my favourite authors that are on my physical TBR that I have not got to yet, because this will be a good way to get my physical TBR down and hopefully get a lot of 5-star books, because I already know that I love these authors and their work. So hopefully all of these will be 5 stars and I'll have a whole month of 5 stars. I mean, it's not very likely, but it's a good chance, I think. And yeah, hopefully it's just like an amazing reading month. So if you have read any of these books and you have thoughts, let me know in the comments. And let's just get started because I have quite a big TBR as always. The first author that I'm going to be reading some of their books is James Baldwin, and the first book of his that I will be reading is Go Tell It on the Mountain, and this was his first major work and it's published in 1953, and this one is a semi-autobiographical novel, so it's loosely based on his own experiences in his own life growing up, and it's about a 14-year-old boy discovering who he is in terms of sexuality, spirituality and morality, all of the alities, and his stepfather is a violent and extremely religious man. I'm pretty sure he's a priest. So this explores religion and its relationship with the African American community and African American families. So I think this will be really interesting, especially since it is semi-autobiographical. I think it will give us a really deep insight into James Baldwin and his, childhood and growing up and, his life at that time. So I am really excited for that one. I think out of the three, this is the one that I'm most excited for. Also because it is like his first novel. I think it'll be really good. So the second book by James Baldwin I will be reading is Tell Me How Long the Train's Been Gone, and this one was published in 1968, and it follows a famous actor who has a heart attack on stage, and he is drifting between life and death and looking back on his life and the choices he made to get up to where he is at the time that he has the heart attack. So this one is meant to be very extremely emotional, and I am so here for that. I am very excited to read that. It discusses being black in a racist society on a very deep level, I believe, and it's described as quite an angry book, which I don't know if that's really a good term to use, but that's what Goodreads says, and I just think this one will be really interesting as well. It actually describes the society at the time as being on the brink of a racial war, and I am just really looking forward to reading James Baldwin's thoughts on that, because he is just a master at getting all these deeper themes into an enjoyable fictional story. So I'm looking forward to that. And then the third one by James Baldwin I'll be reading is If Beale Street Could Talk. And this was published in 1974, and the story is about a 19-year-old girl who is pregnant, and her baby daddy, the father of her unborn child, is in jail falsely accused of rape. And we follow her family and his family as they try to get him out because they know that he has been falsely accused. But the prison system, the criminal justice system, is unfair and prejudiced, so they are struggling. And I think this one will be really interesting as well. This one sounds quite heavy, but it's actually meant to be quite romantic. I read it's the first one of James Baldwin's books that dealt with two main black protagonists in a romantic relationship. So that'd be really cool. And again, much like deeper themes, with the prison system and everything like that, the criminal justice system. So I think this one will be super interesting, and I am just so excited to read all three of these, and hopefully they're all 5-star books. Next, I plan to read A Mask of Shadows by Oscar de Muriel, and this is book 3 in the Frey and McGray series. So this is a historical detective novel series set in Edinburgh in the 1880s, and I have read all the books apart from this one because I read them slightly out of order, which I used to say you could do. However, the most recent book is like very much a direct sequel of some of the other ones. Like you kind of have to have read the other ones to have read the most recent one, but all the books in a series are so good. I love them. Obviously they're set in Scotland as well, which I love. And book 3, this one, follows 2 actors who receive a threat written in blood saying that someone is going to die, and then the two detectives, Frey and McGray, have to go and figure out what is going on. There is rumours that it was written by a banshee, and we have to discover whether there is a real threat, whether it was actually a banshee, or if the actors are just doing a publicity stunt. And I love this series. He throws in so many twists and turns, like everything is always just so exciting, like you can never guess what's going to happen, and the endings are always just like so great. So I'm really excited to get to this one because it's the only one of the whole series I haven't read, and I'm expecting it to be really great. I am not kidding, this is my 6th time trying to explain what The Host by Stephenie Meyer is about, so I'm just going to cut all of the BS and just read my script. So, the Earth has been invaded by a species that takes over the minds of their human hosts while leaving their bodies intact. Our main character Melanie refuses to give in and let the host take control of her mind. Instead, she constantly thinks about the man that she loves. The alien inside of her then also starts to believe that it is in love with this man because their minds are like connected, and the two of them together in Melanie's body go on a search for this man. Oh my god, I don't understand why that was so hard for me to get out. I kept rambling about Twilight and stuff like that, and I was like, I just need to get to the point. So I think this will be really fun. I was surprised how thick it is. Like, my edition of it is like really big. Hopefully the text is big, and it's not actually as like big as I think it is. But, you know, I love Twilight, so I'm excited to get to it, and I'm not going to mess up this take, so I'm just going to end it right now. Next, I will be reading some Ursula Kwen books, and I have loved both of the books by her that I have read in the past. They were both 5 stars, so hopefully these are also 5 stars. I have 2 sci-fis and then her fantasy series. So the first sci-fi book is The Left Hand of Darkness, and this follows a scientist observing the people of a planet where the people are all androgynous and they can become either male or female at the peak of their sexual cycle, but the gender identity and stuff like that doesn't really exist on their planet, and this novel really explores those themes, which I think will be so interesting. But at first they seem really alien to a scientist who is observing them, but slowly he is drawn into their politics and their world, and he loses professionalism by being drawn in, and I think he, I don't know, has a relationship there or something. I don't know what's going on, but I am really excited to get this because this is Le Guin's most popular sci-fi book, and I can't wait to just see those themes that I was talking about that it explores with gender identity and that type of thing. I think it'll be really interesting. And then the second sci-fi book by her I'll be reading is The Dispossessed, and I honestly don't understand what this one is about. I read 2 different kind of, not summaries, like descriptions of the book, and I don't want to spoil myself, so I don't want to look any further into it, but it's quite confusing. It's a utopian sci-fi about a scientist who invents a device that allows for instantaneous communication between people, and after moving to a new planet to escape his jealous colleagues, he is drawn into the dangerous political games of that planet. Again, I think this one sounds quite interesting. I'm really actually fascinated to see what this one's actually about, because that is a very simplified version of what I just told you. I don't even know if that's the real plot. I was reading like the descriptions and it was very confusing, but I think it sounds good either way. And then finally, I will be reading the first 4 books of her Earthsea series. This is a kind of classic fantasy. It's very highly regarded, and I have a bind up with the first 4 books because they're all really short. Like, the first 4 books altogether, and my bind up is like 600 pages, I think, so they're rather short. But in this series, the first book anyway, follows a young boy who is sent to a school of wizards, and this came out before Harry Potter, so any parallels there? Ursula Kwen did it first, and he has to learn to become a powerful magician, and I don't know what happens after that, but I'm excited to find out because this series, like I said, is very highly regarded. And I recently seen a review by Eleanor, who is another Scottish YouTuber, and I will leave it in the description below. She done a review of the first book, and she says that she wishes it was a little bit longer, I think, because it felt to her as if they jump locations really quickly and don't spend as much time there as you would want. But either way, I'm really excited to get to this and figure out what is going on in this series, because I've heard quite a lot about it in the whole fantasy section of booktube. Another author I'll be reading some of this month is Gillian Flynn, and I have 2 books by her. The first one is Dark Places, which is a thriller where we follow a girl who 24 years ago, her family were all killed in a massacre, and she was a key witness, even though she was only 7 years old, and she said that her brother was the one that killed them. He's been in prison ever since, and 24 years later, she is now starting to doubt her convictions and her thoughts and feelings at the time, and thinks that he might actually be innocent. I don't know what happens after that, but I am excited to find out. I love Gillian Flynn, I loved Gone Girl, and I love Sharp Objects, and I've heard that Dark Places is actually a lot of people's favourite book by her, so I'm really excited for this one. And then I also have a novella called The Grown Up, which is only 67 pages, and this one doesn't have the best reviews on Goodreads, but you know, I want to complete the collection, and it's only 67 pages, so that's like one sitting. But this is about a woman who pretends to be a psychic, and one day a client asks her to go to their house to investigate some paranormal activity, and then stuff starts to go down. Obviously it's only 67 pages, so I don't want to know too much about it, but from that little synopsis, I think it sounds quite good, but the reviews are a little bit, I think they're mostly 3-star reviews, so I guess I'll find out when I read it. And then finally, I have a buddy read this month. This author I have not read anything from before, but it is Scott Westerfield, and I will be reading Uglies with Rosie from Read Underneath Stars, Nicole from Nicole Reads, and Hannah from Handpick Blog. I will leave a link to all of their channels in the description. Go check them out. I love all of them. They're all amazing creators and deserve some support, so definitely go and check them out. But Uglies is quite a classic YA series. It is a dystopian set in a world where at age 16, everyone goes to get this operation that turns them from being ugly, aka just, you know, normal, to pretty. I think everyone gets an operation to look the same, perhaps. Our main character, Tally's best friend, Shay, doesn't want the operation and runs away, and then Tally is tasked to go after her. And then she starts to discover the real secrets behind the world and how everything is not as perfect as it seems. Kinda sounds a little bit stereotypical for like a YA dystopian, but I'm excited to get to it because I think it actually has quite good reviews, and I've heard Scott Westerfield is a really talented writer, so it'll be fun to buddy read this and see what I missed out on back when it was really popular in like 2012 or whatever it was. So those are all the main books that I plan on reading in May. I also will be reading some books from my LGBT Classics series, but I don't want to talk about them in this video because, to be honest, there was enough to talk about anyway. My face hurts, like I cannot move my forehead without it stinging. And I also have maybe another little secret TBR for reading my friends' favourite books series. Hopefully I'll be doing another one of those videos, and that'll be fun. So make sure you hit the subscribe button because there's a lot coming out, a lot of content coming, and I am really excited for all of these, and hopefully they are all good. If you have any thoughts on them, let me know in the comments. If you don't have anything to say, feel free to leave a bunny emoji just for the sake of it. And without any further ado, I will be leaving. Make sure to leave a like, and I will see you in my next video.